What's next? There are no obstacles in life, because every obstacle in your life is just an opportunity that you need to kind of manipulate, to utilize, to use the tools in your arsenal to properly utilize. It's complicated and sometimes difficult as we have these things come in our life, we have these people that come into our life, we have these situations that come into our life. And each one that could be seen as an object to block our path, an obstacle in our progression towards getting what we want, to be an actual opportunity if you look at it with the right perspective. But that perspective requires you to have an open mind, to be able to see things from different levels. And you have to pull back. You have to listen to yourself and go, okay, I had a situation in my life. It is insurmountable. How can I break it down into smaller, more dealable parts? And it might just be taking it day by day. If it's a huge debt that you can't possibly pay, well, that's almost impossible to deal with. Because how are you going to make more money when you're so far in debt? And that mindset will just keep you in debt. But if you look at it, okay, I have the situation in my life. I have this impossible debt. One level is that if it's impossible, you have to talk to somebody, a lawyer, a personal finance guy, somebody. And a lot of states do offer this service for unemployed people. They offer this service, some banks do. Where you call them and you say, hey, I'm reached the situation in my life where I had this insurmountable debt and I can't possibly pay it and I need some advice. There's also some companies where you work for a company and they have this service. All these things because banks want you to pay your bills. And if you have an insurmountable debt, you can't pay it. So they want to find a way, a path forward. States want their taxes. So they want to work for a way. A lot of times it's difficult to progress through. But the difficulty of having the debt with no plan is better than trying to find a plan and moving forward. Because a lot of times with the insurmountable obstacles in our life, it simply requires some kind of plan, a path forward, something to think about to help you get over the hump. And that, to me, debt is one of the biggest fears that I have, and probably a lot of people have. But debt, in of itself, actually doesn't even exist. Because even though we owe money, money isn't based on anything. It's not based on gold or anything. It's just made up terms. So the worst that can happen is we lose credit and we lose our ability to function. We can't get a loan. We can't get a job. And they just, these obscure numbers that computers throw at us. But there are ways around all these things. And although I can't list them all, there are always paths if you can pull back far enough and look at it from a different perspective. Another one is if you have a relationship with a family member who are ultra liberal and you try to be moderate. And you have, well, me personally in my life, I'm trying to be ultra moderate and try to say things as a case-by-case basis. But I have friends who are conservative and I have friends and family who are liberal. And both sides can't see the whole picture because the liberal side is so focused on hate of the conservatives, and the conservatives are so focused on hate and fear of the liberals. And both sides have so much fear that whenever I try to do a moderate or even-headed thought on a situation, I get guff from both sides. And I think to myself, why do I bother? But I have to see it from their point of view, and it is under me as the middleman, as the great equator, the guy who tries to get things right in the middle, to negotiate, to try to dissuade their fears, try to remove their hate. And sometimes it's just like, with that kind of fear, you're gonna get nowhere. Or hate, when you fight hate with hate, you get more hate. The only way to fight hate is with love. And the weirdest thing of all is the conservative sides have become more and more open to the idea of listening compassionately, while the liberal sides have been so far about promoting love, but they've been pushing hate so much. So that's why me being a moderate passes both of them side, but maybe it's because the state I live in, Massachusetts, is ultra liberal, and there's more of them, so there's more chance to meet the liberals who won't listen to compassionate debate, while the conservatives, who are used to living in a liberal state, have learned to listen because they have no other choice. But again, if you reach an insurmountable mountain in your life, sometimes you just gotta take it in small steps. You gotta look at a different perspective and try to break it down the best you can day by day. But those are just my ideas. I welcome yours. I welcome discussion. And if you have anything that benefits you, anything that might align with you, subscribe, comment.